This is lesson 10 of geometry on perimeter. 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 Hey, look at the background. I see a ruler and I see some polygons, some flat shapes, some plane figures. If you've guessed that we're going to be measuring those plane figures, you are correct. To talk about perimeter, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a plane figure. Here is a plane figure. It's a rectangle, and here's our ruler. I'm going to line it up, and I'm using centimeters on this side, and I can see that, oh, it goes from 0 here to 10 over there. So this side is 10 centimeters. If I'm finding the perimeter, I'm going all around the outside edge. Let me see. I'm going to swing this ruler down. And let's go this direction and measure this edge. Oh, that side is 4 centimeters. And because I know this is a rectangle, I know that if this side is 10 centimeters, this side on, oops, I got the 0 there instead of the whole piece there. This is also 10 centimeters on the other side. If it's 4 centimeters on this side, it's also 4 centimeters on that side. Let's see if I can put that 10 centimeters back up there and just rewrite that down here. 10 centimeters on this side and 4 centimeters on that side. Perimeter, we said, was the outside measurement around a plane figure. So if we add all these together, 10 plus 10 plus 4 plus 4 equals, and then we'll have our centimeters on the end here for our label. 10 plus 10 is 20, of course, and 4 and 4 is 8. I know that 20 and 8 is 28. So the perimeter of this rectangle, or the outside measurement of this rectangle, is 28 centimeters. Here's another rectangle. This one's got a different measurement, and we didn't have to measure it. They had already given us these measurements. And on the top, there's 15 centimeters. And because it's a rectangle, I know that the line parallel to it, these two lines are parallel. This line segment and this line segment are parallel. This bottom is also 15 centimeters. And if this is 6 centimeters on that side, it is 6 centimeters on this side. To find the perimeter of a figure, you add all the outside measurements. 15 plus 15 plus 6 plus 6. And I'll have my answer, oops, equal, and my answer, and it's labeled centimeters still, since we're measuring with that. I know that 15 and 15 is 30. And I know that 6 and 6 is 12. Maybe I need to use an algorithm that lines them up and down with my 1s and my 10s. Let's do that. 0 and 2 is 2. 3 and 1 is 4. 42 centimeters. The perimeter of this rectangle is 42 centimeters. Here's another plane figure. It isn't a rectangle, it isn't a square, but they do give us measurements all around. So let's take a look. And to figure out the perimeter, we measure the distance around and add them together. Here's 7, so I'll put 7 up here. And there's 6 plus 6. And there's 4 plus 4. And 13 over there. Plus 8 over here. But did you notice there's one side that we didn't have a measurement for? Here's a 7. Hey, what about right here? We've got 6 on this side and 4 here and 13 across here and 8 here. What about this side? Well, we can figure that out if we know that this side is 8 centimeters from top to bottom and this piece over here is 4 centimeters. Then the piece that's left over has to add up to 8. Well, that must also then be 4 centimeters on this side. So we're going to add another 4 in here. And then we'll put our equal signs and centimeters as our label. Let's see, is there a way to make this easier to add? I know that 7 and 6 is 13, and I like to add doubles if I can ever do that. And 13 and 13, I know what that one is already. Did you know that 13 and 13 is 26? Some of you did, didn't you? I'll write 26 over there. And then I have 4 and 8 left, and that's 12. I'll add this together. 6 plus 2 is 8, and 2 and 1 is 3. Let's see, did I miss anything here? I've got 7 and 6 I added up. I have a 4. Oh, I did miss something. Here's another 4 over here. I thought there was something that wasn't quite right here. I've got 1 4 missing over there, so I'll add that one on there. 4. Okay, I'll put my plus signs in there. 38 and 4, there's 12. Regroup that, 110 is 42. So the perimeter of this figure, this plane figure, is 42 centimeters. Well, here's a story problem for you. Using perimeter, I'll read this story problem. You maybe can try and figure this out, and you can pause it at the end of my reading or explanation and see if you can come up with the answer before I tell you. Alice made a square frame for her needlepoint. I wonder what she made. Each side measured 8 inches. Well, I know needlepoint. My mom used to do that, and she'd bring little pictures. A frame is something so that I can put this on the wall. So Alice made a frame for her needlepoint, and it was 8 inches. And it's a square. Oh, it's a square. Can you figure out what the perimeter of Alice's frame is? I'm going to let you go ahead and push pause and see if you can figure that out. I'm going to go on now and draw a square. Oh, 8 inches. Well, if one side of the square is 8 inches, then I know that each of the sides are 8 inches. I can add those together. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals so many inches. Notice we changed now from centimeters to inches. Hey, you know what? I could add 16 because I know 8 and 8 is 16, and you know I said I love those doubles. I can add those, but there's another way that we've learned, and it makes it a little bit faster. If you know some multiplication, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 8. Oh, maybe I could just multiply 4 times 8. Certainly I can, and that would be 32 inches. Alice's frame had an outside perimeter of 32 inches. Let's try another story problem. Mr. Diaz uses wood to make a rectangular frame around the bedroom window. One side is 67 centimeters and another is 95 centimeters. What's the outside perimeter of the window frame? Well, you can go ahead and push pause again and see if you can go ahead and figure that out. I would start with a drawing and label it and then go from there. You push pause and then I'll see you again when you're done. I'm drawing a rectangle that is 67 centimeters by 95 centimeters. I know that's my rectangle, and I also know what a window looks like, and I'm guessing that it kind of looks like this. I suppose that the window could also be this direction, couldn't it? We could do it either way. It wouldn't make any difference. But I'm going to use this first one. I'm going to put 67 on the top here. This is 67 centimeters, and one of the sides is 95 centimeters. Well, because it's a rectangle, I know that two sides are the same. So I'll put 67 down here and 95 over there. Now, I'm going to add those together. 95 plus 95 plus 67 plus 67 equals so many centimeters. Let's see here. 95 and 95. Well, I know that that's almost 100, isn't it? It must be pretty close to 200. If this is first one was almost 100 and this was almost 100, that's almost 200. But I notice that it's 5 less in each case. It's not 100, it's 5 less than 100. It's not 100, it's 5 less than 100. So it's 10 less than 200. So that must be 190. Let me just double check and make sure that's correct. I'll just write 95 and 95 down here to make sure that my thinking was right. 5 and 5 is 10. I'm going to regroup that 110. I know that 9 and 9 is 18 and one more is 19. Oh, it is right, 190. Now, if I take a look at 67 and 67, I know that 67, if I round it up to the nearest 10, that's 70. 70 and 70 is 140. But this is 3 less than 70, and this is 3 less than 70. So it must be 6 less than 140 because 3 and 3 is 6. 6 less than 140 must be 136. I'm going to double check my thinking, make sure I did that right. 67 plus 67. 7 and 7 is 14. That's 110 and 4 ones. Regroup the 110, okay? And I've got 6 and 6 is 12, and one more is 13. 134. Oh, look at that. I made a mistake there. It's not 136, and you probably knew that. Mr. F, 140 minus 6 is 134. So 190 plus 134. I better do that up and down algorithm again to make sure I get the right answer. 190 plus 134. 0 and 4 is 4. 9 and 3 is 12. That's 2 tens and 100. Oh, regroup that 100. 324 centimeters. How am I going to get that on that tiny little line there? 324 centimeters was the outside perimeter of Mr. Diaz's window. Hey, I've got one more for you. Mary draws a rectangle that's 9 inches long and 2 inches wide. Joan draws a rectangle 7 inches long and 3 inches wide. Whose rectangle has the greater perimeter? Oh, Mary's probably thinking she's got a greater perimeter, and Joan's thinking that she's got a greater perimeter. I can just imagine their conversation. My perimeter is greater than yours. No, it's not. Well, let's see if we can figure it out. All right, I'm going to draw a rectangle for Mary. There's Mary's rectangle. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle for Joan. Here's Joan's rectangle. And then I'm going to label them. Now you can go ahead and push pause and see if you can figure out the perimeter of these two, and then decide whose rectangle is greater, has the greater perimeter. You push pause now and see if we come up with the same answers. Mary has a rectangle 9 inches long and 2 inches wide. Joan draws a rectangle 7 inches long and 3 inches wide. Okay, well, let's see now. I know that on Mary's rectangle here, if 9's on this side, 9 will be on that side, 2 here and 2 over there. With Joan, we'll have 7 and 7 and 3 and 3. I'm going to go with Joan's first because I see the making 10. I love making 10s. 7 and 3 makes a 10, and 7 and 3 makes a 10. 10 and 10 is 20. Well, that was easy. Joan has a rectangle that's has a perimeter of 20 inches. All right, let's go to Mary's. I do doubles because I know already Mary's got 18 inches there, and if I have to add 18 and 2, I know that's 20, and then another 2 is 22 inches. Whose rectangle has the greater perimeter? Oh, well, we can see it's Mary's. Congratulations, Mary. All right, let's look at our assignment for tonight. Our assignment was on perimeter. We are on page 120, and our textbook page was 320 and 321. There's some great examples on page 321 if you want to practice more on perimeter. And that's where some of our story problems came from. Go back and take a look at 321 for some more practice. You will enjoy that. Perimeter is the outside measurement of a plane figure. To find perimeter, it reminds us to add the lengths of its side. Instruction number 1, write the perimeter. Don't forget, we're being precise and neat in mathematics, and we want to label. This has a little M here standing for meters. A meter, of course, is a little bit more than a yard. On number 2, we've got the label of feet. Number 3, back to meters. Number 4 has yards. Number 5 will be labeled in inches, and number 6 is again labeled with meters. Number 7, 8, and 9. Use your centimeter ruler to find the perimeter of each. So put your ruler up against each edge and measure using centimeters. Don't forget to label centimeters at the end. Problem solving. Matt has a square picture. Oh, that sounds like Alice's problem. It's got 10 centimeters on one side. What's the perimeter? And number 11, what's the perimeter of a clock in the shape of a hexagon if each side measures 9 inches. Interesting problem. One about a little tip on that one is a hexagon. A hexagon. How many sides does a hexagon have? Well, there's a little clue for you. And if each one of those sides is 9, what's the perimeter of the clock? Well, good luck with your lesson on perimeter.